Sharing our stories connects us. Listen and be connected. Join us for the conversation meeting weekly at the intersection of community and culture. Hosted by Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter. All right, let's get this thing going. It is Wednesday. It's the noon hour. You're listening to WMNF 88.5 here in Tampa. This is The Conversation. I'm Mario Nunez, and as always, I'm seated alongside my broadcast partner, Joe King Carter. Joey.
Yeah.
How are you, Joe?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, you're sitting awful close to me today, Joe.
I know.
Why is that?
You smell good.
Thank you. I thought so too.
Well, we're compressed for our Facebook page.
That's right. So we are broadcasting.
So we get everybody in today.
That's right. We're broadcasting live on my personal Facebook page. If you want to see what's going on and hear what's going on, you can do that.
Yeah.
Just go directly to my Facebook page and you will find out what's going on. Today we have two guests in studio that are going to be joining us here momentarily. That's Keith and Jill Sedita. Those of you that know the name, you know what we're going to be talking about today. All good things. But before we do that, let's get to what we usually do and discuss. Hey, Joey, how was your week?
It was, as always, good, interesting, different, and we've had a lot of negative energy in the media that has swamping through us. Yeah.
Well, the negative energy is always going to be there because I don't know, about you, but I have friends that are Venezuelan, countrymen and women, and I worry. I worry about that.
Absolutely.
Because that's not a necessary thing that we should be having to be worried about here.
That's right.
In the season of Hanukkah and Christmas. And, of course, the sad news continues to besiege us. Last week we were remembering Raul Malo and the feelings that we had over losing him to an illness, and it left us kind of bereft. But this week we're suffering with another tragic loss, and this time it wasn't due to illness, but more to mental illness, I guess you'd say. And those of us that grew up watching All in the Family, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a teenager. I was 13, 14 when that show first came on, and we were introduced to Rob Reiner. Mm-hmm. I'm speechless over all of this, Joe. I don't know how you feel about it, but maybe you could share a word or two.
Well, I think there's a lot to unpack here about this. I think one is our relationship to celebrities is kind of interesting in all of that, because these are people that we don't know, and yet we know them.
Very well, personally.
The television medium is an intimate medium, and I feel like if I got on an elevator with Dave Letterman, I'd be able to say, "Hey, Dave, how you doing?" And he might say, "Get away from me." So, the problem is
small elevator.
We feel like they are our friends. I grew up with Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner was the perfect liberal foil against Archie
O'Connor
as Michael
Stivic. That's right.
He was the perfect foil against Archie Bunker's racist bigotry.
You are a meathead.
That's
meathead.
Right. That's right. And he did a great job of that, and that lingered in the public consciousness of our country because I think that he was associated with that. And then lo and behold, as he becomes one of our most renowned directors of film,
storyteller,
he also, in his personal life, enacts the life of a very progressive liberal and becomes involved in causes. And so he has a symbolic nature too. And I think that that's all interesting that we relate to him that way. And that makes the tragedy all the greater. But the number one topic that I think is most insertive about all this into our lives is our relationship in this country to mental illness. And why do we have this condition still happening in our country? Now, apparently, the Reiners were people of influence and money, and who knows what could have been done. But it does show that if you are someone who is influential, affluential, and rich, you still are dealing with the same issues we're all dealing with. And those issues are that in all of us, many of us in a family have somebody who has mental illness issues. And it's
pervasive.
It's too much of a taboo in our culture because we tend to see people as agentic, as they call it. You are the master of your destiny, and if you have mental illness, it's your fault. Well, it's not your fault, and it's just like it was not your fault that you have cancer. And so we need to start getting on that page more.
I don't disagree with you, my brother. And here we go. That's a bell for Rob Reiner, his wife, and the tragedy that has all left that has left us all gasping for breath and wondering what is going on. What is going on? Well, it's hard to segue away from that and talk to the guests that are in studio with us now, but we're going to try our best because these are two of the most positive people. I mean, I think they wake up in the morning smiling because, well, they know. They know. It's a little secret that they keep to themselves. No, they share it with everybody at their restaurant, but they know where the magic is, and
maybe they'll tell us their secret.
Yeah, I think they're going to. We're gonna twist their arms and make sure that they do. Let's welcome to the studio with us today, Keith and Jill Sedita. Keith, thanks for coming in. Jill, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, so now there are already many in the community who know who you are.
Of course.
And they know about your restaurant and your business and your effect into the community. But we're going to talk about that in a moment. But before we get there, let's tease the audience with who you are and what your life is about. I want both of you to address this. Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Sarasota, originally from Queens, New York. Went to high school there. And
a sailor, correct? Sarasota Sailors?
Very good.
There you go.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. One for the sailors.
So, Jill?
Excuse me. So I am a Jersey girl, but I grew up in Sarasota as well.
Nice.
Born in New Jersey. I went to Riverview High School.
So Hillsborough County side, yeah? No, Riverview
Yeah, the
Rams.
Riverview.
Yeah.
There's a Riverview there as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
And it's the rival high school.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. That's right. The Rams.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
Dear friend of mine, colleague of mine at American Airlines, her father, legendary baseball coach at Riverview for about 40 years. And anyway, I found that out too late because we lost him here recently, and I would have loved to have had a chance to speak to him because, you know, baseball runs through our families, right? And we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. So what was that like in Riverview at that time?
yeah, so Riverview was, it was a public school, so, very busy. It was great growing up on the beach. My parents moved down to Siesta Key from New Jersey, so that was quite
Different from the Jersey Shore. Different from the Jersey Shore.
It's only paradise, right?
Yeah, and back then, it was the late 70s, early 80s. It was just beautiful and empty in the summer, so we had the island to ourselves.
To yourselves.
Yeah, we used to run around on our bikes, and I remember even taking the scat bus down to the mall, Sarasota Square Mall. So it was just a really beautiful place to grow up, and the island life was, incomparable.
Did you feel that way too, Keith?
Well, Siesta was the beach that we used to hang out at when we were kids, for sure. So I didn't grow up on Siesta, but that was our beach growing up. And
did you guys meet there? I mean, is that too early in the narrative to?
Are we going into that? Real quick, or?
Yeah, I mean, we jumped the shark, Joey.
Yeah,
Should we start it?
Well, let's talk a little bit about your families real quick.
There you go.
Your family. What was your family like, and do you have siblings?
Sure, I'm the youngest of 5.
Okay.
Wow.
It's an
Okay.
active household.
Yes, absolutely. My father worked on Wall Street when I was a kid. We lived in Jersey for a while, actually, for 9 years. And then we moved to Sarasota in 81.
And how
So-
old were you then?
I was 10, 11.
Okay.
So you guys have Jersey in your veins.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, you were
And
both
pizza.
on similar
Well, yeah.
trajectories,
We're going to get to the pizza part in a minute.
And you have siblings in your family?
Yes, I have 2 older brothers.
Okay.
And we moved down to Sarasota in 79. So I was about 7 or 8 years old, and just very exciting. I remember pulling over. My dad pulled up to like an orange grove, and we all got out and posed.
Picked an orange right off the tree. Look at that.
Well, I was just going to say, isn't it? So I grew up in Bradenton, so I'm very aware of Sarasota, and a lot of my stomping grounds were in Sarasota as a teen. But it must have been kind of a whole different world from the Northeastern Jersey for both of you, right?
Absolutely.
Mucho sunshine,
Yes.
mucho heat.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I was young, so it didn't affect me that much. But,
Right.
I do kind of miss the change of seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Florida. But I also didn't mind going out. I remember
Not having to shovel snow.
I remember on a Christmas Day going out. We had a boat and going out fishing in the Gulf with my father on Christmas Day. And I was like, you know what? we're really lucky we get to do this living in Florida compared to other parts of the country.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah, I've been sunburned on Christmas Eve many times. So you two might have been around each other without knowing it at some point.
We were. An interesting story, in high school, and you probably did something similar. Spring break, we would head over to Daytona Beach or, go all the way down to Isla Mirada. And we had different circles of friends because we had gone to different high schools. But we actually were there at these spring break haunts, at the same time. And so we met later on in life. Fast forward, I went to college, law school in New Jersey, and then came back. And we met through mutual friends. But we would talk about what we did in high school and, where we hung out for spring break. And
A lot of
brought out
intersecting
photos.
circles, right? A lot of intersecting.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe 6 months into dating or less. Yeah, Jill had a shoebox of photos.
Yeah, from Daytona Beach. And
And you're in a photo.
I'm in the background.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Oh, stop
really?
it. Wait a
Segue.
minute. What's happening here?
Wow.
That's
maybe it was
beautiful.
fate. I don't know. But yeah, so
Kismet.
we started dating. And then.
What about the caller ID when you're staying with your parents when you first came back and had my father's name on it?
Right. So
Uh-oh.
another interesting story. Our fathers
Uh-oh.
were friends. We didn't even realize. And they used to socialize together. And
They play poker.
After we started dating,
Interesting. Wow.
I picked up the phone. There was caller ID. And I said, Sedita, you know someone with the last name Sedita? And, one thing led to another, and we realized that connection.
This is the Rod Serling moment, right?
Yeah,
This is the moment where Rod
kind of
Serling
is,
comes
yeah.
breaking in and and
Maybe,
gives
maybe
us.
not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking that there was a lot of energy in all of that, and when it was revealed, it was like, huh?
Yeah.
You guys must have been like, well, isn't this fancy?
Yes.
It's
And
a
how
little
long have you been
Jungian.
married now?
It's
How
kind of Jungian synchronicity. I mean, it's kind of the true definition of kismet, where you.
That's what I.
Right.
That's why I
Yeah.
said
And
kismet.
Absolutely,
just one
yeah.
other coincidence I'll briefly mention.
Oh my gosh!
We had both gone to San Francisco before we knew each other with friends, and we were there the same year as well and went
Yep.
to the same bars.
To
Wow.
live, you went to live there for a while.
No, just on vacation.
Oh,
We
oh,
happened to
yeah,
go to the
okay,
same
all
bar.
right. So now,
Wow.
all right. So Joey, does this not fall into the narrative of the conversation? We tell our guests each and every week. We like to delve into your personal story a little bit before we get into what
Right.
it is that you do for your livelihood, because everybody's story is interesting.
Yes.
And isn't this interesting?
Absolutely. Of
I
course
mean,
it is. It's.
We didn't know. I didn't know this, and this is just fascinating. Now our audience knows it as well. So when they come to see you, wink, wink, they're going to know your story.
And we just had our 25th wedding anniversary.
Nice. What'd you get her? What'd you get her? Something with silver. Something with silver.
And it was a busy day at the restaurant.
All
Let's just say
right.
that.
He got her a new pizza pan. I don't know what that
And it was
means.
silver.
And it was silver.
We took a little break and went to Sarasota.
We did.
Oh, good.
We had a little
good.
getaway.
St. Armand's.
Yeah.
Key
But
do
you know,
something down there.
you must, as a married couple, and I'm not married, so from the outside I see how complicated it is. I think people who are single appreciate marriage in some ways in a way that married people don't, because we're looking at you going, bravo, But my point is, you must have a sense of destiny a little bit from all of that. A little. It's like it almost seems like life was trying to put you together before you came together. Am I wrong about that, or how do you feel?
Have you
about
guys
that?
thought about that?
Yeah, I think so. It's.
I would agree.
And
It's not a
Too many coincidences, Keith. Too many coincidences,
We
Keith.
knock on wood, but
Yeah.
in many ways we were a good couple because we complement each other.
And you're both tall and you're both handsome. So you know what I mean?
And we have roots up in the Northeast,
Yeah,
which is
no,
good too.
forget
Like
it.
on trips to Jersey and New York, we point out different things. So I went there. Well, let me show you where I went. And
Yeah.
we're proud of that.
Yeah.
And,
Well, the
and
peop-
the food obviously brings it all
Right.
together too.
And you can't help but argue that who loved Bruce Springsteen more? I mean, come on.
Well, the people that
I do.
the
Or
people
Bon
that
Jovi.
John Bon Jovi. There you go. See, yin and yang, yin and yang.
the people that research this say that what makes for successful relationships is actually commonality. It's having similar backgrounds, not different. We say, well, opposites attract. That might be physical, maybe, but if you're going to sustain a relationship, the fact that you have the same values and the same,
looking in the same direction.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And
Interesting.
and Sly Stallone told us this as Rocky when Rocky was being asked by Talia Shire's brother, and you know, what is it you like about my sister? What is it about my sister?
Right.
And he would say, you know, we fill gaps, we fill each other's gaps. You know, which when you stop and think about it, you know, in other words, her strengths might be some of your weaker parts, and she's able to kind of bolster, and vice versa. It's that union that makes it work.
Yeah.
And if you have the common thing in the background, boy, then that's the glue that keeps it all together. So congratulations on 25 years. Here's
you.
to the next 25.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you betcha.
And so let's go back to the beginning of that. When did you got married? When did you get married? How long ago was that? 25 years?
Here in Tampa?
September 2nd, 2000, Sarasota,
September
St. Marcos.
2nd.
And you were obviously not doing then what you're doing now. So what were you doing?
Great question.
I was in the restaurant business. I've been in the restaurant business for over 40 years. I know I don't look like it.
Well, the people on Facebook know. But you don't sound like it
I
either.
was working for the state attorney's office
You're-
as an assistant state attorney. So,
Wow.
Using that legal background.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
And again, look, Joey, look, marriage made in heaven, right?
Yeah.
You got the restaurateur here that knows how to do the thing in the kitchen, and you got the legal person over there that knows how to do all that stuff. I mean, come on. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a
Let's
good
put this
thing.
together.
Yeah. So, and you're also raising a family.
yes, so we have two boys. Can't believe their ages, but 19 and 22. So, you know, they have just made everything even more exciting and interesting. They're both in New York in college right now. One's at NYU, the other one's at Vassar.
Wow.
And they love the weather and, you know,
They're
just
young.
the energy in New
They're
York
young.
is so much different
Oh,
than
it
it
is.
is here. Yeah, so...
And you have a son who has a radio connection. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so Ethan, they're both, you know, big baseball fans. Ethan works at WNYU, and they have a little radio show called The Cheap Seats, where they discuss all things MLB and just, you know, statistics. He's really
He's
good
wonky
at-
that way, huh?
Yeah,
Likes to get
just-
down into the weeds with the
Cerebral.
statistics, yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah,
And-
Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock.
We'll listen in.
Interesting.
And Keith just has always been that dad who brings them to all the hockey games, the baseball games. You know, they played when they were little, both hockey and baseball. So I think that kind of laid the foundation for having such a strong interest.
And so both Yankees fans, one Mets, one Yankees, or
Mets.
Both
Mets, both Mets.
Absolutely.
Oh, they're hurting right about now, right? With
that means
Pete.
we're loyal.
Yeah.
If you're a Mets fan, it means you're a loyal
yes,
person.
Yes. Well, you know,
been a lot of pain associated
Randy
with it.
Zimmerman, who might be listening now from wherever she is, grew up a big Mets fan,
Oh, yeah?
growing up in Queens, New York. So yeah, she's Mets fan from
I like her even
way,
more
yeah,
now.
way back. You know, and of course the '69 Mets still hold sway. You know, I can still give you
So
that
going back
starting
to the
lineup.
beginning,
Yes.
Yeah.
September 11th, 1969.
Okay.
It's the first day the Mets went into first place. And then they became the Miracle Mets, and they won the World Series. So that was the day I was
Amazing.
born.
Really?
And my father wanted to name me Met, and my mother almost killed him. So that didn't happen.
Could have
but
nicknamed you
that's
Matt.
why-
Could have nicknamed you Matt. You could have been Keith Sedita, but he could have called you Matt.
That might be why I'm a Mets fan.
Oh my goodness.
We were in Queens, and yeah, he was a Mets fan.
And you could have been Met Sedita.
Great
have been.
history. The Metropolitans. Great history, though. The franchise is, you know, it's been up and down, but it's got a storied history. You know, after the Giants
does.
left, they needed to do something to fill that void, and
Yep.
and you know we love their color scheme, right? Orange and blue.
Yep.
So go Gators.
Dodgers, Giants.
Yeah, Dodgers,
So,
exactly.
let's-
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about you were working as the assistant
District
state
attorney.
district
Yeah.
attorney. And was that something that became your career in general for many years?
So, no, I just happened to be working there when Keith and I met. But I graduated law school, and then I became a clerk, which is basically a judicial clerk. It's a rotational thing. So that was in New Jersey in a chancery court. And then the cold weather kind of chased me back down to Florida, and my whole family was still here. So after my clerkship was up, then I came down to look for a job in Sarasota. And I started working there. And I was also at a family law firm for a little while, and then a real estate firm. So, I did a little bit of everything. And then while we were coming up with the concept for the restaurant, I actually went back to work part-time for a criminal defense firm. So I always have that law degree in my back pocket, and I love it in many ways. So
always calling that skill
even though
set.
the restaurant is my passion, I can always kind of go back to it. If
And you can look somebody dead in the eye when they have a slip and fall in your place of, don't you dare. I know that one. I know what you're doing.
I know that.
Your bathrooms are always
Yeah.
clean. Your bathrooms are always clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, my ex-wife is an attorney, and some people are very suited for it.
Yeah.
And really enjoy it.
It's a skill. It's a thought process, a mindset.
So, and then you were already doing restaurateur work?
Yeah. What was your first job in the restaurant world?
So let's go back. First of all, as I mentioned, I'm the youngest of 5. So my natural hospitality gene that I have, I get from my mother. Growing up.
Were you setting the table? Were you setting the table? You were setting the table, right?
Oh, yeah.
You helped Mom set the table.
But what does hospitality gene mean
I have
for
it too,
you?
by the way, Keith.
What does that mean? That you want to make sure everybody's happy and comfortable?
100%.
Set that dining room up.
Yes.
It's a good experience.
And just talking with people in the dining room and getting to know them, and just making sure when they walk into our restaurant, they feel comfortable.
You'd have been a great flight attendant, Keith.
They want to return. Right, it goes beyond the food.
Right,
Yeah,
The food has to be great,
experience.
but the
100%.
hospitality.
The whole experience.
So you have this hospitality gene. You decide that you want to be involved with restaurants.
Yeah, so, growing up, every Sunday, my mother made a big Italian meal, and, we had friends, and she would never say no. If we wanted to have a friend over, and she just added more pasta.
That's what I said. Another cup of water to the soup.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, so I started working in the restaurant business, when I was 15. Actually,
What was that first job?
the first job was taking peaches off of our tree in New Jersey and selling them on the street corner.
Nice.
That was my first. I built a cart with the training wheels that I took off my bike and started selling peaches to the soldiers at Fort Monmouth
cart.
in New Jersey.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. But first restaurant job was Palermo's in Sarasota on the corner of Beneva and Weber. I was a busboy. Mm-hmm. And then, from there, a couple other places, Casa Lopita, a few other places.
You're getting a vibe here, Joey?
Oh, yeah,
He
I
likes
got
that
it.
Italian theme. You get that vibe?
So there was a buffet restaurant that was like around the corner from our house in Sarasota, and I started working there, and I wanted to go to culinary school. When I was in high school, that was what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And so I got a job as a busser, and I told them I really wanted to be in the kitchen, but I didn't have any experience. Well, one night on a Saturday, the cook called in sick, and I was off, and they asked me if I really want to work in the kitchen. And usually on a Saturday, a 16-year-old says, no, I'm busy with my friends. But I said, absolutely. So I went in and worked in the kitchen. Spring forward, I became the general manager of that restaurant. Over time, my boss at the time, Don McGee, we're still good friends. His daughters were in our wedding. He and I ended up buying the 2 remaining restaurants from that company. We formed a partnership. I moved to Fort Myers, ran that one. He ran the one in Sarasota. And we had plans of growing a restaurant company together. Plans didn't work out. We ended up selling the restaurants, and I ended up working with Carrabba's. Mm-hmm. Worked with Carrabba's for 5 years, did a management, you do 5-year management partner contracts. After that, I joined Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar. Mm-hmm. Did a 5-year
So you're moving
contract.
on up, like George
I
and
stayed with the
Wheezy.
same company.
Moving
but yeah,
on up.
well, yeah, and
Right?
we really, I had a great experience at Carrabba's, and I wanted to take the dining.
Fine dining, you're getting it, more.
Yeah, Jill and I would spend special anniversaries and things at Fleming's, and we really liked it. There wasn't one in Sarasota yet, so we would drive to Tampa. And so I took a position there in hopes of getting my own location, worked in Tampa, traveled from Sarasota to Tampa for 9 months.
Wow.
And then until they finally got the one in Sarasota open, and then I was part of that opening team, and then they awarded me the Naples one. So Jill and I moved to Naples with Dimitri, our oldest son, and then when we were in Naples, we had Ethan. And so we were there, and I was asked to take over the Tampa location. So that's what brought us to Tampa. So we moved from Naples to Tampa, and I ran the Fleming's here.
When did your paths cross with Mr. Gunsmart and the Gunsmart Group?
So after Fleming's, I partnered with Chris Sullivan, and we created a restaurant concept called Carmel Cafe and Wine Bar. Mm-hmm. And
a lot of us remember that.
Did that for a few years. We got a few restaurants open, and then I left, and I put something out on LinkedIn to my friends to endorse me, because I was putting my resume together. And Richard responded, call me. And that's when he was approached about this 100-year-old steam-powered pump house in the Hillsborough River. So I ended up working with him as his vice president of new business development. We took this little old restaurant and turned it into something special, which is now Eulalie.
Very special.
And so I worked with Richard for 8 years. I learned a lot. And then during COVID, all the restaurants closed during COVID. We all worked hard to get them reopened. And then during that time of COVID, we had this incubation period. Jill and I worked on this idea of Flourish. We really believed in a health-conscious, health-forward lifestyle, diet, and so on. And we created this idea, and eventually we created what we have now.
And here we are. So let's take a pause here. Let's pause for station ID. When we come back, now we'll start to kind of develop the story and bring it to present, which is a wonderful story that you need to hear.
Hi, I'm Joe Remo, and you're listening to The Conversation with Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter on WMNF 88.5 in Tampa.
And again, if you're just joining us, we're
Captain
talking...
Remo.
That's Captain Remo. If you're just joining us, we're talking to Keith and Jill Sedita. They're going to tell us all about their new... It's not that new. They've been in business for a little bit, but it was new at the time that you kind of discovered what direction you wanted to go in. Healthy lifestyle, healthy eating, moving forward. We all need to be concerned about that, Joey. Everybody does. Let me give you the phone number now in case you want to join the conversation. If you'd like to call us, it's 813-239-9663. You can always send us a text at 813-433-0885. Operators are standing by. And Jessica will be screening all the emails if you'd like to send us an email. DJ@WMNF.org. Flourish the restaurant.
Yes. Now, wait a minute. Before we go to Flourish.
Okay.
Because we've still got a
little bit of time left. Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about your experience with the Columbia and the 1905 groups. Like, that is a very impressive business. My life is Ybor-centric, so I've known Richard for years. And how smart that guy is, by the way. He's got free parking in the back. He's got free parking in the front. In a city where every spot now has been monetized, including in front of my house. So you can't park for free anywhere in Ybor City. But you can if you go to the Columbia restaurant. And that's pretty interesting.
Oh, it's important.
Now, the other thing is, that experience in working with him, were there things that you learned from him, or were you already at the level of development in terms of what you were doing? Because you sounded like you were almost partnering with him.
I learn every day. I learn something new every day.
Good answer.
Good man.
My biggest takeaway from working with Richard was, and if you have the means to do this, was you don't ask what the price is first. You look at the quality first, always. And that's the biggest thing with Richard. Now, the other thing is I think that Richard is a marketing genius. I mean, he's very creative on how he gets people.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall.
Exactly.
Humpty Dumpty had a great fall.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, and for those of you that don't know what is Mario talking about, you should visit Eulalie right there on the banks of the Hillsborough River.
Yes.
To figure out what I've just said. But yes, he is. He is. He knows how to bring people in.
Yeah, so I learned a lot from him. And again, been in the business a long time, but I learn more every day. I don't know if that answers your question.
That answers my question.
Yes. So Flourish, Joey Flourish.
Yeah, so
we got a lot of awards to talk about.
Yeah, we do. And let's talk about, as the two of you in your partnership in marriage and now business, how Flourish came about. You said you said briefly we were talking about healthy eating, but let's go a little bit more into that. Because the concept is very interesting, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think approaching our 50s really sort of had us take a look at what we were doing in terms of our health. We have 2 kids, we want to...
Mortality.
Yeah, we want to be around, and not only be around for as long as possible, but have a quality of life
Of course.
is, worth living. So... our kids are interesting. They've always been kind of well-read and little budding environmentalists, and they started really paying attention to what they were eating and what they were putting into their body and how agriculture affects the environment and, all these things. So they started leaning towards a plant-based diet, right? So I had been a vegetarian for many years just because it made me feel better. It made me feel lighter. I never really craved a lot of meat in my diet to begin with. So we started cooking at home with plant-based ingredients, but we have this history, this culture of,
knowing how to make it taste great.
Yeah, and food that is indulgent,
Yes.
and craveable, and delicious. And so we just had to kind of put a new spin on it where it was made with ingredients that were premium, nutrient-rich, and also tasted really
And you're
great.
speaking of the Italian
Yes, our Italian
cuisine?
right, exactly.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So, for
Italian
example,
upbringing.
we came up with a cashew-based ricotta cheese, and we used this in baked ziti at home, and we'd use it for lasagna and all these different things. Just put a dollop on a bowl of pasta, and it would elevate it, and the kids loved it, and that kind of was the beginning of coming up with the idea.
Was that the litmus test? Hey, give it to Mikey. Mikey, he
was
likes
like a
it.
Mikey
He likes it. So if your kids liked it,
They
you
inspired
knew,
us.
There you go.
They
That's
really
what I was
did.
driving
But going
towards.
back to that ricotta, so, translated in Italian, that means recooked. It's just recooked cheese. It doesn't have a lot of flavor aside from salt.
Right.
But when you make what we're making, you have fresh basil, you have fresh garlic, you have more flavor.
Yes.
And it has the same consistency. It's
Yes.
delicious.
And there's
Yeah.
2 things I think that, I think is what we're looking for in a good meal, besides the nutrient dense and the richness of that how it feeds our bodies. But we're looking how it lands in our mouth.
Flavor and texture.
Yeah, that's it. Those
If it
are the
has
2.
both of those things, you've nailed
You're
it.
halfway home. Yeah, you're halfway home.
Also, too, I'd like to say at this point, because again, Ybor City informs me so often, is I've gotten very close to the descendants of the Sicilians that came there, who were primarily the farmers of Ybor City.
Yeah.
I mean, they were
And
involved
dairymen.
They came from-
they were involved in many other businesses, but dairy, farm, and restaurants is what they really
They fed
contributed
us.
to their early arrival in Ybor City. My ex-wife's family is Sicilian; she's Sicilian, and I've been ruined because I expect my Italian food to be fresh and right. And, then in so many restaurants, it's not. So it kind of makes sense. You come out of this tradition that you're doing this now, that you've been doing this, because, I guess what I'm trying to say is I sort of see Italians as the food people of one of the great food cultures of our planet.
Right.
And it kind of makes sense that you guys sort of gravitated toward this. Again, maybe it's kismet. Now, let's talk about how you started to decide to make that happen.
Right. So I think what it came down to was, we want to build a place, a concept that we would want to frequent. We would want to go to with our family, that's convenient, that uses fresh ingredients, like we talked about, fresh basil, fresh garlic, and that, again, is craveable and that people will think about after they leave.
Right.
And so
Right.
ultimately, we decided we want to use foods that people consider comfort foods, right? Like bowls and pizza, of course, and cookies. We brought you some of our freshly baked cookies this morning. And we want to make sure that we nail the flavors and the textures, and that to keep people raving about us online, so that more people come in and try this. And we feel like we've done that.
Also hitting on this same concept, Joey, craveable foods, right? Foods that people will think about when they go home and can't wait to come back. Also hitting on the fact that it's very portable, takeawayable, if you will. I just made that word up, right? And you can also cater. So those are the three components here. You can dine in. You can certainly take your food away, and it's going to be equally as delicious as you eat it at your home. And if you have that special occasion, that little party, you want to get these, food items to your home, you can do that as well. So niche all the way.
Yeah.
Let's talk about plant power based and what that does to us here, what that does to us, and I'm pointing at my body, how that feeds our spirit, our soul, and our bodies.
Think about this. People have a million problems until they get sick, then they have one problem,
Thank you.
right?
Right.
So health is really important, and food is medicine.
100%.
And, we're just doing our part to make delicious food that happens to be plant-powered.
So
Can we get that on the T-shirt?
So part of the problem that you may have had in overcoming that is the concept that people, for some reason, many people associate healthy food with not appetizing food.
Right.
Talk a little bit about, I don't know how, in your marketing, or how do you talk about that with your customers? Sort of
Well, again,
touch upon that, please.
It all comes down to what we're making, and it's we
Fresh, delicious.
handcraft things in small batches. For example, our base is our dough, our New York style pizza dough, right? So we use a 48-hour fermentation process. We use King Arthur flour, which is unbleached, unbromated. We created this dough recipe with a really good friend of ours who we call the Dough Whisperer. He just does amazing things with dough. And what we wanted to do was make sure that it was crispy on the outside, soft and pillowy on the inside, and has carry, which is, if you're kind of a pizza aficionado, you understand, like, you don't want
Structure.
it
It doesn't
floppy.
It has a structure.
Right. Carry.
So, and pizza, New York style pizza dough is plant based by design, right?
Right.
It's accidentally plant based. So
Right.
that's what we're starting with.
But is it always fermented?
No,
No.
it's not always
Right,
fermented.
because it's the fermentation that
Makes you feel good
Yeah,
when you
it
leave.
goes
You're not
easier
feeling bloated.
on the
Right.
digestion.
And this is what a lot of people don't realize about the bread in
Yes.
general in America
Yes.
that is commercially produced, is that it's not fermented.
Right.
And it
you
has
go-
stabilizers in it and things like
all
that.
that crap.
We don't
And
have
you
that.
go to Europe and you eat bread and you go,
Yeah.
wow, this is great. I feel great.
I want to eat
Yeah,
more bread.
they don't
I
allow
want to eat
it.
more because we love to eat bread.
Right.
Yes,
bread
we
is
do.
bread is one of those things that I
Staple.
think is multicultural.
And then we just put toppings
Yes.
on it.
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
Right.
Well, pizza boy.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick call.
I'm going to be so hungry at the end
No,
of the
we're
show.
already hungry. Let's take a quick call. We've got one of our callers who's been standing by patiently for a few minutes. Joe in Tampa, what say you, sir? Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. I'm Joel Chudnow, and I'd like to order a margarita.
Listen, we'd like to serve one to you, Joe.
That's Joel.
Well, Keith and Jill, you've made a real gem in South Tampa, and I thank you for that. People can go there, and I've been teaching wellness and natural hygiene for 37 years. I'm starting to get good.
You're just getting started.
No, I just want people to know that people can go there and feel confident about placing an order. Now, if there was a list of foods that they could obtain outside of the restaurant to put in their kitchen and start building a healthy kitchen, not just one meal at your place, that would continue to build a healthy community. But education is the key teaching people what food sources to trust and feel confident in using it and sharing it with their families and friends.
Joel, let me ask you, do you have a favorite? When you go to Flourish, when you see these two wonderful people there standing behind the counter smiling at you, do you have a favorite item that you select there?
I just ordered it. A margarita.
Okay.
there you go.
All right, okay. All right. I stand corrected.
Oh, it's an absolute treat.
There you go.
With olives of...
Pretty simple, too, right? Not overcomplicated. Traditional.
Classic. Yep.
Yep. Classic.
Yeah, it's simple. It's satisfying, very satisfying, and I feel very confident eating out at Keith and Jill's place that I'm feeding myself, because immune function is the key.
That's the key.
If you're educating and teaching people to nurture and nourish their cellular immune function. If they're above the line and a cold comes down, or virus or a flu, if they're above the line in immune function, they'll be able to deal with it more effectively than if somebody is eating unhealthily and below the line.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joel, so much for your comments. We look forward to meeting you one day, Joel.
That's a great point. Let me just say.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you.
Thank you. And those are great points you make. And by the way, the connection to community is a great point. And the other thing is that I think what's happened to us is because we're having to fight the food industry, a lot of us eat at home much more than we actually want to, because we don't want to go to restaurants, because we don't trust restaurants, because we don't even know what's going on. And I think your point is so well made, and frankly is a great advert for them, because you can go there and know what you're getting. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks for listening.
A healthy community, people with a healthy body and mind, and doing the right thing.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you so much. Thanks for your call. Body, mind, and of course, if your body and your mind are in sync, the third in the holy trilogy of body, mind, and spirit, everything kind of starts to work together.
Yeah.
And he was mentioning, Joel was mentioning that he's been in wellness for 30 years teaching. It happens at the cellular level. You have to get it's granular, but you have to get way down there and it's all about itis, man. And itis, as we know, is about inflammation. And inflammation is what happens when you eat bad. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, that's what makes you feel bad. And it can happen to you as a 25-year-old. It can certainly happen to you as 55. And if you're lucky enough to get to 85, you're struggling by the time you get there if you haven't put consciousness into your thought process when it comes to nourishment.
Yeah.
So what do you guys like? What do you see as your number? And if it's the margarita pizza, say so. What's something that everybody comes back for?
Gosh, well, we have a couple of off-menu sort of special signature pizzas that have been
Do you have to have a code word to get those? Are they like delivered out of a back window in the back room?
Sort of.
Speakeasy, like you knock a special knock on the door?
We change the password daily.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
We have them listed inside on a little chalkboard. So,
Nice.
But yeah, just to give you a little glimpse, we have what's called an artichoke pesto pizza, and it has both of our house-made cheeses, the mozzarella, the ricotta, and the Parmesan, actually. But our pesto is made fresh in-house, and it just has so much flavor, and the fresh basil is just.
I can smell it now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking aloud to myself. I
think I'm salivating.
You have been get back away from the mic, Joe. You have been sharing with us these intimate details of the restaurant. Not only its development, how it came to be, but now in practice. And we believe you. I believe you because you're believable people. I'm looking right into your eyes. But don't believe them and don't believe me. Have you won any awards? Have you won any awards?
Actually, we have.
Oh, well, there you go.
Most recently, Tampa Magazine has named us.
So you have been recognized.
Yeah. We were nominated for Best Pizza, and we won in that category, and also Best Health Conscious as well. So
there it is.
Yeah.
By the way, that's amazing when one considers.
They're in both categories.
Yeah, exactly.
Because pizza is considered the most unhealthy food
Junk
in America.
food. I think it reaches the
I
level
mean,
of
it
junk
really
food.
kind of
almost.
amazed me
Thanks
because
for pointing that out.
Yeah,
No,
well,
I mean the fact that with both categories, that's
Yes.
special.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it's very special because you're actually giving
Pizza.
somebody an alternative to enjoy their pie in a healthy way. That's pretty remarkable.
Have you guys seen the Netflix? I think it's a documentary on pizza. They go to 5 different chefs.
No.
Oh no, I'm going to find out and I'm going to get it for you.
Okay.
They go to 5 different chefs. It's global. Like they go to one in Italy. They go to one in Greece. You know, 5 different chefs and they all have their own spin on pizza. And I'm not saying that they're all plant powered,
Right.
But they are. But it's pizza, and why? Because pizza is so universal. I mean, you think of pizza, you think of Napoli, you think of Italy, but
Well, good segue. You know, Jill and I created this menu, and we said, well, what is it gonna be? And we chose pizza because it's familiar food. If you look around the globe, to your point, there's some
Comfort food.
version, right? There's some version of bread with the toppings or whatever, some
Right,
version of a
right,
pizza.
right.
So it's very comforting, and it's very familiar to the masses. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
my eyes roll back in my head, Joey, every time because when it enters my mouth and the texture and the taste take over,
Yeah.
okay, I'm 10 years old. I'm at my cousin's birthday party and there's a plate full of scacciata on the table. Now everybody knows from Tampa knows what scacciata is,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And it's very unique. But what is it if nothing more than dough and sauce on top?
Yep.
But it has that instant
Pillory.
it
Yeah.
transports you instantly back to the first time you ever had scacciata.
But you know, I haven't had pizza in years and years because
fearful of its ill effects.
because it's crap.
Yeah, there you go.
So let's get real.
Well,
let's get real about it.
Yeah, let's
So
go-
here's
let's go to Flourish.
Yeah, let's my
What are we
point
waiting for?
is, you're talking to someone who spent an entire lifetime abusing food and abusing my body, having health issues because of it eventually. I came to the game very late in understanding that nutrition is the entire existence of your cellular structure in your body. One of the things that works for me, the psychologist will say, no, there's no bad foods. You just have food in moderation and all these things. Well, the truth is, what I've done, which works for me very well, is I eliminate food. I just eliminate them, you know. And so, like I was no sugar enters my lips. So here's the point. I gave up on pizza. Because why would I eat that? You know,
Right.
It's going to drive my blood sugar like crazy, and it's got all this junk in it and undesirable fats and so you are bringing me back to reality.
We're snapping you back to reality.
Yeah.
brother.
Enjoy
Let me
it.
read this.
Yeah.
We just got an email. Let me read this email. Actually, it came through on our Facebook Live feed, and it's from Gloria Jean Royster, and she says, the best moment when visiting Flourish, aside from everything made with love, food, decor, ambiance, etc., is when Jill and Keith separately take a moment to sit down and talk with you and your guest. Hospitality gene indeed! ! Love them and their concept. That's from Gloria Jean.
Nice.
Thanks, Gloria Jean.
Oh, we love Gloria.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Isn't she?
She
Yeah,
is.
Yeah.
And when they become
Local
customers
treasure.
and guests, and by extension, family members at Flourish, they just kind of come back. They just kind of are always there. And then it becomes the kind of thing where, again, you feel so comfortable there. It's like that old flannel shirt, man. You just want to put it on. Those
Right.
old slippers, you just want to put them on.
Yeah.
So being there is half of it. The other half is the nourishment that they get from the pizza.
Absolutely, that's a big part of it. The entire experience, and we talk to our team members about making connections with people and talking them through the menu so they can educate them and feel comfortable and understand where the food is coming from and what they're about to sit down and enjoy.
So after we get through here, Jill, are you guys going to have to run back there and go to work? I see
Yes.
you've got your shirts on. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
So
We will
how
be
many
there.
how many seats do you have available in your dining room?
We have 22 seats in the dining room.
So it's
We have
rather intimate?
Eight seats on the patio.
30 altogether.
Yeah, intimate. You know, 70% of our business comes in through either phone orders or through our website or through third party. We are on Uber Eats, Grubhub, and DoorDash as well.
Delivery.
Again, pizza being the most deliverable. You know, that's the first food that we remember as kids being delivered. I mean,
Yeah.
there was a place in South Tampa called Chicken Delight. This is back in the late 60s, late 60s. And I can remember on Sundays, our family would order, much like KFC, and this little yellow Volkswagen would come to the house with a comb on top and what looked like a waddle in. You know, they made it look like a little chicken. And they would deliver a bucket of chicken to your house. I never forget that. But aside from that, it was always pizza. Pizza was the only thing delivered.
Right.
Now everything's delivered. But pizza was the only thing. Pizza. Pizza.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
Joey?
it's a comfort food. I mean, that's what
They said it
people-
best.
Yeah, that's what they attract.
What's in the offing for you guys? What's next? What's on your wish list? If you had a Christmas... Dear Santa, Jill, finish the letter. Dear Santa.
Yeah, just continuing what we started. And, you know, we have a really great time creating new specialty signature pizzas by listening to our guests and, you know, really paying attention to what they enjoy. And they want to, you know, mix it up a little bit here and there so they get excited to come in, our regulars. We have people come in 3 or 4 times a week, which is always
That's 3 or 4 times a
Every
week,
week.
y'all.
Yeah.
Every week. Yeah.
Okay?
And also just staying connected with the community. We take all of our veggie scraps to the Tampa Community Heights Garden,
Wonderful.
and our kids grew up there. We love what they're doing, and we love to see their growth. And we also have something coming up that's very special with the Humane Society of Tampa Bay. We're creating a special pizza so that a portion of every sale of that pizza will get donated to help in their mission to take care of homeless animals. So, I mean, aside from that, you know, we'll be happy with Santa. If he
Will that
brings all
pizza
those
be a
things.
specific kind of pizza?
So we're
Or
coming
will
up
it be
with
any pizza?
So we're coming up with a
Special.
pizza
Yeah,
that
for
is
sure.
just kind of related to, you know, we were thinking about the barbecue pizza. or something.
The
So-
bark.
See what you
Something
did
kinda-
there,
That might be
Jill.
our first one, and then this might be a rotating thing over time. We'll see how it goes, and then, you know, we don't want to alienate or
Leave anybody out.
Yeah, people love cats too, so it
Yeah.
can't just be
Yeah.
dogs. So it's a pet,
Meow, something meow.
a pet forward pizza.
So what I'm thinking is listen, Joey, we may have
Tuna.
a new restaurant.
No, you don't do tuna.
We do have now a new restaurant to enter into our rotation of
Yes.
restaurants.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we have somebody here near and dear to us as part of our team, and she hardly ever opens her mic and speaks because we're always fearful if we open her mic, she may never shut it off again. But we do know one thing about Jessica Green. She is a committed plant-powered menu person.
Absolutely.
She's been living that lifestyle for a hot minute.
Right.
And when we told her that you know, Keith and Joe are going to be here today, she lit up.
Yes.
So yes, we're going to be going there very soon, and I'm not fearful. I'm excited that it might be soon, and again and again and again. So let me ask this: when you go to the restaurant, Joey, you know, you go to a restaurant, you're always there, the ambiance, and Jill's over there, and Keith's over there, and they're doing their thing. But
Yes.
you know, sometimes you're sitting at the table and you're listening to some music because this is seasonal music. So now it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. What do you guys have music in your shop, and how does that come about?
Sure, we curated a list. Actually,
Playlist.
we created a playlist. We kind of focused on hits going back to the 60s. Because people, we love, you know, listening to B-sides and unique stuff.
Yes.
But in restaurants, people don't want that. They want familiar things, and maybe they're sitting there and a song brings them back to high school or whatever. And we think of it this way. Let's say there's 4 people, 4 different age groups at a table, and they're there for an hour. And each of them
Touch each of them.
hits a song or hears a song, and they're tapping their feet to it during that experience. Then we nailed it. Right?
You guys think
And
of everything.
Yeah.
I don't
You
know about
don't
that,
leave,
but-
you don't leave any stone unturned.
we get a lot of compliments on our playlist.
So I
love it.
I have a real quick question.
Yep.
Which is, Keith, you're one of the few people I think could answer this. Why do so many restaurants fail? In a succinct way, what do you think it's really about?
Wrong focus.
Okay.
Service?
The quality has to be that you can't just run a restaurant focusing on the bottom line only. And I think too many
Consistency.
people are scared that way, and they focus on the bottom line, and then all of a sudden quality goes down. That house-made dough becomes a frozen dough.
Okay.
Right?
I see where you're going. Yeah.
The fresh vegetables
Consistency,
become,
man. You just
yeah.
got to be able to put
Fresh
that same
ingredients.
thing out there all the time.
But you also, our team is amazing, and they have to have the it factor with hospitality beyond the skill set. And we're very fortunate to have that. And I think that you have to, as a restaurant, don't lose sight of the importance of that as well.
And that's interesting that you say that, because I sense from you in this conversation that the bottom line is, I realize you're business people, but it's almost the last thing I sense. Or I'm trying to say it this way: it seems like everything else is more important to you.
As we come to the top of the hour, let me just say this about that, as Richard Nixon once famously said. What a joy and what a treat it's been to have you with us today. We hope that we've done Flourish justice and bringing it to light, because if you don't know about it, you know about it now. Keith and Jill, thank you so much for being with us today. Happy holidays.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Terrible segue.
And I'm hungry.
We got to get out of here quickly.
Yes.
May your business continue to flourish. Oh, what a
Well done.
terrible pun.
Thank you.
And let me just say, as always, special thanks to Jessica G, our OG, and thank you to Joe Remo answering the phones. And coming up next, it's the Music Wednesday with Sam I Am, and I'd also like to say that there is no scoop today. Stay tuned for NPR.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back here next week. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. You're listening to WMNF Tampa.